Do you guys remember a few months back, I got to review something called the UPERFECT X Mini. This thing is an 11 point something, 11.6 inch lapdog. That basically the idea here is that you plug an external thing into it, like a Samsung phone running Dex or your Steam Deck or your Switch or something like that. And this becomes a screen, a mouse, and a keyboard all to use with that piece of hardware. Now, right now, that thing is actually on sale for $199, which makes it a fairly palatable choice. However, there's one big issue that I have with all of these things, in particular when you're using something like Dex, which is very, very good. You must be physically tethered to this device at all times, right? So you're charging your phone while you're using Dex, and that's cool. But for me, just sitting there having my phone plugged into it all the time feels restrictive, and it just doesn't feel that great. Well, today we are going to be unboxing something new, something very, very interesting. This is apparently a 14-inch lapdog that has an incredible feature. It is capable of running from your Samsung phone, your Dex device, presumably other devices. I'm not sure how this actually even works, but it's able to do this wirelessly. This is the Uperfect X14 Pro. Big shout out to Uperfect for sending this thing over. We are going to, in this video, do an unboxing and a quick first impression. So let's jump to the overhead camera now. Okay, Uperfect portable monitor. Of course, this is not just a portable monitor. It is indeed a lapdog, like I just showed you a second ago. But this thing is supposed to have better build quality. I believe it's like aluminum or something like that. And like I said, capable of being wireless. So the first thing in here is a charging brick, which is a C charging brick. Looks like it is a 20-watt charger. We'll set that thing aside and set that aside. We also have various cables in here. So that's a C to C. This is mini HDMI to HDMI. Another C to C. Maybe this is like light. Nope, those are both C's. There is an A to C. So lots of potential cables to use this thing. And then here is the lapdog itself. And I can already tell you, even through this bag, that this thing feels a lot nicer than that other one. It is cold to the touch, which is a lovely thing to feel when you're talking about electronics. Let's move all these cables out of the way that hopefully we're not really going to need. And let's peel that off of there. Let's kind of readjust a little bit here. This thing actually does, guys. It feels pretty nice. And I love how just nondescript it is. It is just like a blank laptop looking thing. That is pretty cool. So what do we have up here? This looks like power, an SD card reader, micro SD. So presumably, you plug your phone in, get some extra storage there. A power button, nothing else here, nothing else here. On this other side, HDMI in, and then this is a USB-C to charge. So that does address one of my big problems with the other one, which was that it charged via a barrel plug. This thing is going to be charging via USB-C. Let's open the thing up, and it immediately powers on. Guys, this looks so much nicer than the other one did. Okay, so the first thing that immediately stands out to me here is just how much bigger this keyboard and how much bigger the trackpad are versus the one that I used before. There is a lot more key travel on this keyboard as well, which is great to see. As far as the screen goes, those bezels are actually quite thin. If you look at them, that does not look too bad at all. The hardware of this thing looks to be pretty rock solid. Now I can see here, Android device wireless connection. It says Bluetooth connect touch and then keyboard. So it appears that what we're going to have to do here is go into our Bluetooth settings and look for there is touch, and we're going to pair to that, which is probably the touch screen, and then keyboard, and then let's pair it to that, and that should of course be the keyboard. At this point, I should be able to launch Dex. And there it is, Start Samsung Dex on Flipbook. Let's go ahead and click on Start Now. And this thing should fire up here momentarily. And there we go. We are now off and running. Now, of course, this is all now happening wirelessly. So what is that going to mean? How does my trackpad feel? Well, look, there is a little bit of latency there. It's not quite as good as you would expect it to be on like a Windows laptop or something like that, but it is in fact functioning. Let's go ahead and let's fire up an application here. And honestly, guys, this is working about as well as you could hope that it would. It's not particularly framey. The touch screen seems to be responsive. This is pretty good in particular considering it's all wireless. Let's launch YouTube and let's go and pull up a video. Do notice the touch screen, the screen does wobble a little bit, which is a little bit annoying, but that happens with a lot of laptops. So I need to turn off the filtering for my microphone, which I can do here in just a moment. And we're going to get an audio test here. So let's turn off the noise removal. Let's make sure that our speakers are turned up all the way, which we have to check two different ways, and they are in fact maxed out both ways. And let's go back to the beginning of this video and let's get an audio test.
For the first time and probably ever, I am actually somewhat interested in you seeing being at...
Okay, so the speakers are not great. Let's actually do a quick comparison here. I should be able to, I believe, change audio output to my phone, right?
For the first time and probably ever, I am actually somewhat interested in using Bing as my search engine. That is because Microsoft...
So obviously my phone is orders of magnitude louder. So the speakers on here, not the greatest speakers that my ears have ever heard. Let's go into Google Photos here, and we'll pull up a very nice dynamic looking picture. Pinch to zoom is working. And honestly, guys, this screen is not bad. It's not the most incredible screen. Again, like I said, it's not some crazy 4K thing. This is 1920 by 1080. It is 60 hertz. It is an IPS panel. But I think that it actually does look pretty good. I forgot to turn my noise removing filter back on, so we have now done that again. Now, one thing I do need to test, though, before we go any further is let's actually plug the Z Fold 4 in so that rather than running wirelessly, we're going to be running over that USB-C cable, because what I want to see here is how does that experience improve? So, okay, immediately, the trackpad is working much, much better. How does the touchscreen feel? Does it feel any better? This feels more responsive. So yeah, no shocker there, but if you're plugged in, this is definitely going to run better than if you were doing it wirelessly. But honestly, the wireless setup was not nearly as bad as I was worried that it was going to be. In fact, we're going to throw that USB-C cable away, and we're going to go back and connect to it again, and you can see how quickly this is all going to happen. And the reason that I want to do this is that I want to point something very cool out as I close this thing. So it is now closed, right? Now watch this. If I open it, which by the way, it is slanted in the front. That is actually quite an interesting design, but it allows me to grab a hold of the top bit a lot easier. If I open it up, watch this. It wakes up and I am still in Dex. That is pretty cool, right? That is a pretty nice thing to be able to do. Now, the only downside to this is I don't think I could possibly demonstrate this to you at the same time, although maybe I can. There's my phone and it's closed, right? It's closed. The screen is off. Now, as I open this, will my screen turn on my phone? No. So you could leave this in your pocket potentially and just treat this like it's a real deal laptop, even though it's running off your phone. That's pretty nifty. Now, obviously, if it's closed for a certain amount of time, it does go into a sleep mode, which is going to disconnect it from your phone. It's going to do that to save battery. And you probably want to do that whenever you're done. Hold that power button on the side and power the thing down before closing it, because otherwise, you're just going to stay connected for that, allotted amount of time, and you're just draining battery by doing that. So let's take a look at the listing here before we go any further, because honestly, this is a first impressions, not a full review. That video will be coming. Subscribe so that you don't miss it. This is the Uperfect X14 Pro. It is $449 on sale right now. I will have a link in the description if you want to buy it. It is an affiliate link. Words. That is a little bit steep, right? So maybe if you want to wait until I've got my full review and I've tested it with my Fold using Dex, I've plugged my Duo into it, I've plugged my Steam Deck into it, my Nintendo Switch, I've used it for a ton of different things, that might make sense to me. Check all that stuff out as it does come out. Let's look at the specifications. Not much shocking here. It is a 10,000, almost 11,000 milliamp hour battery. So battery, as far as the life goes, how long is it going to last? I'm going to have to check that out for myself. I almost don't believe 5 to 6 hours. I feel like it should be a lot more than that, but we're going to have to find that out ourselves. 100% of sRGB, if that is true. I can buy it for what I'm seeing. It does look pretty good. 2.76 pounds. It is not light. You might think it's super thin, that it's going to be super light, but that's a big old battery in there. So it's not necessarily the lightest thing in the world. Guys, that's pretty much what I've got for you on this quick first impressions. Like I said, big shout out to UPERFECT for sending this thing over for me to test. Full review is coming. Subscribe so that you don't miss it. Let me know what devices you might want to see me test on this thing as well. What sorts of things in general do you want to see me test on it? What would make this thing be worth $450 when you could presumably buy a Windows laptop for that price or less? Let me know what you want to see in that review video, and I will do my best to bring that to you guys. I will see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.